So as you probably already know, yesterday I released a video on the Amber Guyger trial, and I discussed the act of forgiveness that the victim's brother displayed towards the defendant. However, what we didn't discuss in the video was how everybody in the courtroom was tearing up, and after the sentencing, the judge walked over to the defendant, and after she sentenced her, she gave her a Bible and told her the gospel and where she could start reading the Bible. And then the defendant hugged the judge. So the atheist organization, the Freedom from Religion Foundation, filed a complaint against the judge for her actions. Now, the letter that was written was from Annie Gayler and also Dan Barker. And now Dan Barker is somebody who I've been planning on responding to his videos for a long time, which I'll eventually get to. So I'm going to just go ahead and read the letter. So the letter is dated for August 3rd, 2019. And it says, "Dear Commissioners, we are writing on behalf of the Freedom from Religion Foundation to raise possible violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct by Judge Tammy Kempt on the 204th Judicial District. FFRF is a national nonprofit organization with more than 30,000 members across the country, including more than 1,300 members in Texas and an active state chapter. We protect the constitutional principle of separation between state and church. Judge Kempt tried former police officer Amber Guyger in her courtroom from September 23rd to October 2nd, 2019 for the murder of Botham Jean. We write to raise your awareness of Judge Kempt's actions at the close of the trial, during which she gifted a Christian Bible, instructing the convicted criminal on how to read the Bible and which passages to pay attention to, and witnessing to that convicted murderer. These proselytizing actions overstepped judicial authority, were inappropriate, and were unconstitutional. Courtroom video shows that after the sentencing and the victim impact statement, Judge Kempt left the courtroom, then returned holding her personal Bible. She walked over to Amber Guyger at the defense table and then proceeded to preach. "You can have my Bible. I have 3 or 4 at home. This is the one I use every day. This is your job for the next month. You read it right here, John 3:16, and this is where you start. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only son, that whosoever," you stop at whosoever and say Amber. You start with the Gospels. Then, inaudible, you read this whole book of John, inaudible. But likely where the judge said, "This will strengthen you. You just need a tiny mustard seed of faith. You will start with this. This has been put in front of you for a reason. He has a purpose for you. There's no reason why," inaudible. Judge Kempt then hugged Guyger and said to her, "It's not because I'm good. It's because I believe in Christ. I'm not so good. You haven't done as much as you think you have, and you can be forgiven. You did something bad in one moment in time. What you do now matters." The exchange was 4 minutes long. Much of the exchange appears, as of now, to be inaudible, and the sound cut out for more than 30 seconds before the hug. But what is audible is sufficient to show an ethics violation. We do not yet know whether it was transcribed. That itself is problematic. We understand that it was an emotional moment, particularly when the victim's brother, Brandt Jean, publicly forgave and hugged Guyger. It is perfectly acceptable for private citizens to express their religious beliefs in court, but the rules are different for those acting in a governmental role. We too believe our criminal justice system needs more compassion from judges and prosecutors, but here compassion crossed the line into corrosion. And there can be few relationships more corrosive than a sentencing judge in a criminal trial and the citizen accused and convicted of a crime. It appears from the exchange that Guyger may not have identified as Christian, but Guyger's religion does not change the constitutional or ethical analysis. Even were Guyger an avowed devout Christian, the gesture would still have been inappropriate and unconstitutional because Judge Kempt was acting in her official governmental capacity. The U.S. Supreme Court has said time and time again that the First Amendment mandates governmental neutrality between religion and between religion and non-religion. The government must remain neutral towards religion because the preservation and transmission of religious beliefs and worship is a responsibility and a choice committed to the private sphere. In their personal capacity, citizens may freely worship and exercise their religious belief in a way that they see fit. In their official capacity as government officials, they are bound by the Establishment Clause. Judge Kempt is free to attend church as a private citizen. She may even proselytize in her private life or teach Sunday school and so forth. However, it violates a vital constitutional principle for a sitting judge to promote personal religious beliefs while acting in her official capacity. She was in a government courtroom dressed in a judicial robe with all of the imprimatur of state, including armed law enforcement officers, preaching to someone who was quite literally a captive audience and even instructing her on which Bible verses to read. The judicial office title, trappings, and power belongs to we the people, not to the officer's temporary occupant. Delivering Bibles and personally witnessing as a judge is an egregious abuse of power. Judge Kemp transmitted her personal religious beliefs as a state official in an official proceeding of the gravest nature, a setting that imposed on everyone in the courtroom, attorneys, staff, family members, and the convicted. This was a widely publicized trial that every attorney in Judge Kemp's district watched, along with much of the rest of the nation. Judge Kemp effectively signaled to everyone, defendants and attorneys alike, that she is partial to Christian reform and Christian notions of forgiveness. Judge Kemp otherwise appears to have handled a difficult trial with grace and aplomb, but that cannot excuse her inappropriate and unconstitutional actions, which are a serious abrogation of the freedom of conscience protected by our First Amendment and by Article 1, Section 6 of the Texas Bill of Rights. We respectfully ask that you investigate these actions for violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct, especially Canons 1, 2, 3, and 4C, and that you'll take all the appropriate steps to ensure no further misconduct. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. Very truly, Dan Barker and Annie Lori Gaylor. So now I anticipate that this might draw responses from both sides going in different directions, but I'm curious what you guys think here. Do you think that the judge overstepped her bounds by giving the defendant a Bible and giving her a hug? Or do you think that since the women didn't seem to have a problem with it, that it seemed appropriate and that they were sharing a human moment? Do you also think that it matters that all of this happened after the sentencing was finished and after the trial was complete? Do you think that that matters in this case? Or do you think that the judge used her power to coerce someone into believing something? So whatever it is, I'm genuinely curious to hear what everybody thinks about this. So go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. And the next time that you're in a similar situation, what are you going to say? What do you mean?